Henry and MUDGE under the yellow moon. 재밌게 읽어보아요. In the fall, Henry and his big dog Mudge took long walks in the woods. Henry loved looking at the tops of the trees. He liked the leaves orange, yellow, brown, and red. Mudge loved sniffing at the ground, and he liked the leaves too. He always ate a few. In the fall, Henry liked counting the birds flying south. Mudge liked watching for busy chipmunks. Since one was a boy and the other was a dog, they never did things just the same way. Henry picked apples and Mudge lit apples. Henry put on a coat and Mudge grew on. And when the fall wind below Henry's ears turned red, and Mudge's ear turned inside out. But one thing about them was the same way. In the fall, Henry and Mudge liked being together most of all. Henry loved Halloween. He loved to make jack-o'-lanterns. He loved to make paper bags. And most of all, he loved to dress up. But there was one thing about Halloween. Henry did not like ghost stories. And Henry's mother loved to tell ghost stories. Every Halloween, she put on her witch's hat, lit candles, and told ghost stories. She thought Henry liked them because he told her he liked them, but really he hated them. They scared him. He was afraid to tell her that. 재밌죠? But this year, Henry had Mudge. Mudge would be with him. Henry would not be afraid of the ghost story. So Halloween night, Henry's mother put on her hat and lit candles. She invited Henry and Mudge and some of Henry's friends to listen to ghost story. It was dark outside. A big yellow moon was in the sky. It was dark outside, except for the candles and one jack-o'-lantern. Henry got close to Mudge on the floor. Henry's mother began. First, she told a story about a man who lost his head. Henry shook his friend's shoe. Then she told a story about a cat in a graveyard. The candles made shapes on the walls. Henry shook harder. Then Henry's mother began telling a story about a pair of shoes. that went looking for Summer's feet. The shoes, she said, came out only at night, and they were up and down the street looking. You could hear them, she said softly. They went click, 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 click. Henry's mother tapped her own shoes on the floor. Click, 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 she whispered. But when she stopped tapping, Henry still heard something in the room under the yellow moon. Henry held his breath. Something went click, 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 but faster. Henry's whole body shook. It was like someone walking fast and fast. Click, 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 click. What was it? Henry's mother bent down. Mudge, she said. Henry knew his mother was scared too. If she needed Mudge, she said again. The clicking got louder. The shoes are coming, thought Henry. He put his head in Mudge's neck. Now the clicking was louder than ever. Mudge, Henry's mother said, "Stop chattering." Chattering? Henry put his ear near Mudge's mouth, and Mudge's teeth went click, 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 click. 머지의 이빨 소리였네요. It wasn't a pair of shoes. It was Mudge. And he was more scared of the yellow moon and the dark room and the witch's stories than anybody else. Poor Mudge, thought Henry. Henry stopped shaking and put his arms around Mudge's big head and held Mudge tight. Then they listened to the next story about a chair that rocked all by itself. But Mudge clicked all the way to the end. Thanksgiving. Yes. In November, Henry's Aunt Sally came. She came 1 week before Thanksgiving. She left 1 week after Thanksgiving. That is why Henry did not like Thanksgiving, because he did not like Aunt Sally. She talked too much. Henry said. Henry thought. 헷갈렸네요. She is too much. Henry thought. She hogs the TV. TV는 맡기면 기분 안 좋죠. Henry thought. Henry wished Aunt Sally would stay home. Aunt Sally had not yet seen Henry's dog much. I bet she hates dogs. Henry thought. Oh, how he wished Aunt Sally would stay home. But she didn't. She came 1 week before Thanksgiving, right on time. Aunt Sally came into Henry's house. She was talking and talking and talking. She went right into the kitchen with Henry's father. Henry knew what Aunt Sally would be doing in the kitchen. Henry went in the backyard to find Mudge and Nest. Henry thought that Aunt Sally must be finished. 가래가 조금 있었네요. Talking and eating, so he went back inside with Mudge. They walked into the kitchen. Aunt Sally was still eating. Good grief, she yelled. Henry and Mudge started back. I knew she'd hate dog. Henry thought. Aunt Sally looked at Henry. Good grief, she said again. But then she took a cracker off her plate. She threw it to Mudge. Snap went Mudge's mouth, and the cracker was gone. Henry looked at Mudge. Henry looked at Aunt Sally. Great dog, Aunt Sally said. She put a cracker in her own mouth. Want one? She asked Henry. Sure, said Henry. He sat down with Aunt Sally. She still ate too much. She still talked too much. But all of her talk this time was about Mudge, and that was different. Aunt Sally talked about Mudge's sweet eyes. She talked about Mudge's strong chest. She talked about Mudge's soft fur. She talked about Mudge's good manners. And she fed Mudge lots of crackers. This year, Henry knew he was going to like Thanksgiving. This year, Henry knew he really had something to be thankful for. 좋아요랑 구독을 꾹꾹 눌러주세요. 많은 시청분들 있었으면 좋겠습니다. 좋아요도 많았으면 좋겠습니다. 안녕!